I messed up. I bought this house in 2021, and at the time, I was just happy enough to get a home. You see, in 2021, bidding wars for homes within my budget were everywhere. Every home that my realtor and I put an offer on, someone else wanted more, or was willing to pay more, or both. When we found this house, it was on a busy road, and as weird as it sounds, I was actually kind of grateful for the busy road because it meant I actually stood a chance of getting a piece of the American dream. So we wrote an offer, and we got it. So I'm an engineer, and since the pandemic, I'm one of the lucky few who gets to work from home exclusively. Now, my wife and I have looked at cheaper cities to live in, and we get so much more for the money. And to be honest, it kind of felt like we had won the lottery. Now, fast forward to last month, and my boss wants me back in the office 3 days a week. Now, some people say it's a way of letting people go without letting them go, and I don't know, but my wife and I have made the difficult decision. We need to sell and move back closer to work. But the housing market has changed. Rates are now above 6%, and there are fewer buyers and sellers, and the bidding wars seem to have gone. So we put the house on the market for sale, and that busy road that helped get us in the door, well, it's now the biggest headache I have. Houses just a block over without the busy road are selling. Ours? We've cut the price 3 times. Okay, so that wasn't my story. That was a friend of mine, and his name is Mark. And the thing that gets me about Mark's story is that no one told him this could be an issue before he bought the house. Nobody told him that the road wasn't just a trade-off, it's what I call a concrete mistake. This is the second video in a series called the Time Traveling Realtor, and every video in this series is about different mistakes that homeowners make, decisions that feel completely reasonable at the time, and only reveal themselves as problems when it comes time to sell. There's a lot to cover, so let's get going. Now, when you buy a house, unless your budget is unlimited, you're going to make compromises. I mean, you kind of have to. You probably wouldn't buy a house otherwise. But most buyers figure this out the hard way. Not all compromises are created equal. There are compromises you can fix, and there are compromises you can't, and there's everything in between. Now, a fixable compromise is something like an outdated kitchen, maybe ugly carpet, or a bathroom that hasn't been updated since 1987. Now, these are problems to be sure, but they're problems with a solution. You can spend money on them and change them. And then when you sell, buyers can see that you changed them and often reward you with more money. Now, an unfixable compromise, on the other hand, is different. It's something that was true the day you moved in, and in all likelihood will be true the day you move out, and there is nothing, no renovation, no realtor, no amount of mulch that can change it. Now, when you bought the house with that unfixable problem, you probably got a discount. The market priced it in. But know this, a discount baked in going in is a discount going out. Whatever the market took off the price when you bought it is in all likelihood going to take it off again when you sell. Maybe more if the market is softer, as it was with Mark. You often don't get to keep the discount and escape the problem. The problem travels with the house. And many people don't think about this enough when they're buying. Now, Mark thought he had years. He thought he could wait for rates to come down, or at least a better market. But then his employer changed everything. Life has a way of doing that. You often don't get to pick your timing. Now, in a hot market, buyers tolerate a lot. Bidding wars make buyers grateful, but in a softer market, faults become more consequential. So this video is about the unfixable kind, what they are, why they matter, and how to make sure you're going in with your eyes wide open, and what you can do about it. So here are the big ones. The first is location. And I don't mean the neighborhood in a broad sense, I mean the specific micro-location for where your house sits. Maybe the busy road, or the flight path, or the high voltage power lines running behind your fence. Or maybe it's a house that backs up to a commercial parking lot, or maybe a fire station is next door. A buyer standing in a beautiful kitchen can still hear the trucks on the highway, and once they hear it, well, they're probably not going to stop hearing it. There are no hiding these faults. Again, if there was a discount baked into your purchase price because of them, there will be a discount baked into your sale price as well. Now, the second is the lot itself. Now, lots come in many different shapes and sizes that either work or they don't. Maybe a lot that slopes or drains the wrong way, or a lot that's oddly shaped. Or maybe it's a lot that sits so close to the property line that there's nowhere to expand. By the way, if every neighbor has your same postage stamp backyard as you do, well, it probably won't bring your house down compared to the price of your neighbors. But if your yard is smaller than most of your neighbors, beware. Now, the third is what's around you. Not your properties, but properties adjacent to it. Maybe it's the neighbor with the art installation of 6 rundown cars in their overgrown grass. Or maybe it's the industrial facility a quarter of a mile away that you stopped noticing and smelling, but buyers walking through the first time absolutely will not. And fourth is the floor plan that cannot be undone easily. Maybe it's a 1 bathroom in a 4-bedroom house, or maybe it's a bedroom you can only reach by going through other bedrooms. Or maybe it's a garage that was converted poorly before you bought it and can't realistically or cheaply be converted back. Now, these aren't cosmetic issues per se, they're mismatches between what your house is and what buyers in your market expect your house to be. Now, these houses technically can be fixed with money, but often not for a profit. Now, if your house is one of those things, you need to know what you're dealing with before you spend another dollar on it. Because here's what I watch sellers do. They have an unfixable problem and they try and compensate by spending money on fixable things. Maybe they over-renovate the kitchen, or they put in really nice flooring, or maybe they put in new landscaping, and they do everything right. And they are perplexed when the offers don't come rolling in when a house a block or 2 away are selling. Now, if your kitchen is worse than your neighbor's, a renovation might actually help. I'm not saying you shouldn't improve the house. What I am saying is know what problem is you're solving or can't solve and be honest with yourself. What I don't want you to do is spend money on your kitchen and expect buyers to see it and forget the wastewater treatment plant next door. It can't and they won't. Again, a baked-in discount going in is a discount going out. Now, if you need to sell, sometimes the best thing you can do is this. Accept what your house is worth and plan accordingly. And move on. Painful, I know, but be grateful it helped you get in the house, but don't throw money at a problem that money can't fix. But if you haven't bought your next home yet, this is the most valuable thing I can tell you. You are going to make trade-offs. Prioritize the ones you can actually fix. Now, the fixable problems are actually an opportunity. You can buy below market because of the outdated kitchen, and then you have the option to update the kitchen. And then when you sell, buyers will often reward you with a higher sale price. Now, here's another place I see it. Buyers on a budget love the idea of a fixer until I show them a fixer. And then they decide that they don't want a project house. And fair enough. I mean, I don't necessarily blame them. I mean, it's not for everyone or everyone's spouse. But then they choose a house with high voltage power lines or whatever. And look, everyone has what they're willing to tolerate. You should just know going in. Now, here's a principle I learned from a commercial real estate agent that's really helpful here. It is generally better to overpay for a great property than get a great deal on a bad one. What do I mean by that? Well, a great deal on a bad property is still a bad property. And there's a reason it was priced the way it is. But overpaying for a great property can pay off. They're easier to sell when the market gets soft. And if you maintain it, it will hold its value and more often than not, beat inflation by a healthy margin when it comes time to sell. Now, there is a buyer standing in Mark's old kitchen right now. The kitchen is beautiful, and the backyard through that window is exactly what she pictured. It's a great house. But then she hears the road, and she tries to talk herself into it, but then she ultimately walks out. She wasn't being picky per se, she just didn't want someone else's permanent problem. The things we covered today are just the beginning. Most of the mistakes that homeowners make are not obvious at the time. Maybe a wall that comes down or a room that changes purpose. Decisions that make complete sense for you today, but will sabotage you when you eventually sell. That's what this series is all about. Getting ahead of those decisions before they cost you. You have worked too hard for this house to lose money on it on the back end. Let's make sure that doesn't happen. Subscribe if you don't want to miss it.